So the UFC is pretty much confirmed to come back to China. So I've linked up with Big Time MMA, who's one of the best matchmakers on YouTube, and we're going to be talking about what could be the best card on Shanghai. And we've matched up a couple of fights for you guys to talk about. What do you have to say about that, Big Time?
One of the best matchmakers. No, 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 the best matchmaker of all time. I'm here in the building to help you out. All right, it's gonna be a good card though. I'm excited about this, dude.
The best matchmaker on YouTube, the tight MMA. You heard it from the man himself. And we're going to talk about the main event real quick. It seems like the main event is not going to be the UFC strawweight title fight, which we kind of hoped it would be. Zhang Weili taking on Yan Xiaonan. It seems like the main event is going to be something else. What do you have to say about that?
I think it's. I don't know why it's not Zhang Weili versus Yan Jianan. I feel like that's a no-brainer. I'd be very surprised if that got put on a different card. But it looks like it's probably going to be Petr Yan versus Song Yudong. We're seeing it all over Instagram. You guys know what's up. You
Yeah,
know this fight's what they want to do. So
I've got Yan versus Song Yadong as my main event as well. It seems like that is what is going to be the move. But after that, it seems like there's a lot that hasn't necessarily been confirmed. We've got 3 fights confirmed right now. Suma Tajiri, who's a ranked fighter from China, is going to be on the card versus Alan Nascimento. That should be a pretty good one. And then Andre Muniz is going to be defending his ranking against Junyong Park. And Junyong Park is on a pretty good tier right now out of South Korea.
yeah, I'm excited about that. That's a good fight, dude. That's a
These
very
are
good
good
fight.
fights, man. And Ming Yang Zhang versus Brinson Ribeiro. I think that's a banger, dude. Like, if you can go back and watch a couple of Ming Yang Zhang fights, he hasn't fought the best competition, but his fight over George Tokos was so exciting. And Brinson Ribeiro is just a brawler. So I think that's going to be like an absolute banger to close out the prelims, or just be on the prelims in general, if that's what they're planning on
Yeah,
doing.
that's a banger prelim fight. That's a banger prelim fight, dude. I'm excited about this. It's a good card. I'm actually hyped for this shit, man. I'm hyped for
Yeah,
this. It's gonna
well,
be a
the,
good
the
card.
reason why I'm so excited for it is it's just so different, you know, because we've got so many cards on in the USA, and then they went to London a
Mm.
couple of times in the UK, and then they've gone around to France and now Australia. But China's just a bit different, you know. We're going over to Asia for the first time in a very long time, so yeah, we've got to have a pretty good card. I think there's going to be a lot of debuts on this card as well. I can see the UFC probably signing at least 2 more fighters from China to debut on this card as well, so it should be a pretty good one.
Mm.
And
What do
who
you,
do you
how do you
have
want to do
in
this,
your?
man? You want to jump into this?
Yeah,
You want to
mate.
jump
Yeah,
into
I was
these
gonna
cards
ask
that
you
we
who's
built,
got your
bro?
co-main event. What's your co-main event?
Co-main event. All right, I had to pull out the big guns. It's pretty obvious what they want to do. You know, there's one man that they need on this card. They need Li Jingliang on this card. And I took a look around the welterweight division. I had to think, who has this guy not fought yet, and who would he match up well with? I've decided, obviously he's coming off a loss. A lot of people thought he won that. He got robbed of wearing his nice suit as well. So I'm gonna give Li Jingliang a big spot. Co-main versus Gunnar Nelson. All
That's a
right.
big fight.
Gunnar Nelson's coming off a good streak, I think, at the moment, and I feel like it's an interesting matchup. I want to see the grappling of Gunnar Nelson versus like Li Jingliang. He's a big guy. He's powerful. Very interesting matchup. You
Yeah, I
know.
feel like if Li Jingliang could keep that fight on the feet, it could make things interesting. But if he gets taken down, you know, Gunnar Nelson, he's got that grappling experience.
Yep. Yep.
I also have
But
Li
Li.
Jingliang on the card as well, but I've got him against somebody
Oh,
else.
let's hear this.
I've got Li Jingliang versus Randy Brown.
Oh, mate, Randy Brown, the
Yeah,
goat.
that's my take.
Damn,
I thought that would be a
that's a
pretty
good
good
matchup,
one.
man.
Would probably take place on the feet as well. I mean, Randy Brown, he's still a top ranked guy, definitely top 25, maybe even borderline top 20 around that area. And Li Jingliang, you know, he's coming off that massive injury, that back injury. He has said that he's seemingly ready to come back. I mean, he's claimed that he's ready to come back. So yeah, I think that he will be on this card. I think he'll be a big name on this card for the fans in China and just around the world as well. Everyone kind of loves Li Jingliang. He seems to be a pretty nice
Yeah,
guy.
bro, who doesn't, dude?
But I mean, Jake Matthews probably doesn't like him too much, but
Yeah, really, bro.
now we've got the featured matchup. It's Jake Della Maddalena versus Jeff Neal is what I've got, because I thought we'll put JDM on the card. What do you think about that, and who is your featured fight?
Bro, you're putting JDM on this card? That's not fair, man.
I am putting
I didn't know
JDM
we
on
were
this
doing.
card.
Hey, bro. Damn, that's making me feel bad, man. Damn, I thought I had good fights, bro.
That's
I did
alright.
not
No,
put
well, I
JDM
thought
on this
honestly,
card.
JDM, he seems to want to fight again at the end of the year, and
Yeah,
295 is stacked. You could easily put him on 295 to be fair, or 296.
yeah.
But yeah, I put JDM on this card. I feel like it's a little bit too casual about
Damn,
announcing that one, to be fair. That's a
that is
massive fight.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's a huge
Yeah,
fight.
I just see him ending up on like MSG or 296 to be honest, but that'd be cool, man. That'd be really cool. But I think JDM has earned the right to not have to fly halfway across the world or have to go on a completely different time zone or something like that. I know he's from Australia, but I feel like
Yeah,
he's
well, the reason
pretty
why is
well
because I've
adjusted.
got, he's not the only Australian fighter on my card, you see. That's why I did it. I was a little bit too
Damn,
casual
dude.
on that announcement, but yeah, I think that Jack Della Maddalena on this card could suit. I mean, Australia to China probably isn't too much of a difficult flight. I guess trying to get to the USA from Australia. I mean, not that
Yep.
I've ever done it, but
No,
I think that we could see JDM in China, or maybe at one of those massive pay-per-views. But who did you have
that'd
in
be
your
cool.
featured fight?
Well, I did have a different fight, but I feel like realistically speaking, this Andre Muniz Jung Yong Park has big featured fight vibes all over it. Or maybe the Sumudaji Nascimento fight, but that might be the headliner of the prelims. So if it's not Muniz versus Jung Yong Park, okay, this one's an underrated one, okay? You're gonna think about this for a second, but then when I say it, you're gonna be like, all right, damn, dude. All right. Going in the welterweight division, because me personally, I like to dig into the welterweight division when I want a banger. All right. I'm going with Muslim Salikov versus Song Kanan. That's what I'm
Yeah,
picking.
that is a
That's
good
a
one. That
banger.
is a
That's
good
a
one.
fireworks fight, dude.
Man, Sonkanan's not even someone that I thought about. He's not even on my card. I missed that
Dude,
one up. I missed
Song
that one up
Kanan
big time.
versus Muslim Salikov, bro.
Yeah, that would be a good striking fight. I mean, Son Kanan coming off that fight against Rolando Bedoya,
Yeah,
and he's
dude.
coming off that fight against Ian Gary where he had the big moment. You know, he did lose the
Dude,
fight,
that's what I'm saying,
but
man.
yeah, I mean, he's got that power. It's interesting because he
Big
come
fight.
off like a massive layoff taking on Ian Gary, and I remember everyone was kind of like, "Who is Son Kanan?" But I was like, "Yeah, I would probably come down to nobody really wanted to fight Ian Gary because it was relatively short notice as well." So yeah, shout out to Son Kanan taking that fight and then having a good
Very
performance. I
underrated.
thought.
Very, very underrated guy, man.
But yeah, as you mentioned, I would be very surprised if Sumatajiri versus Alan Nascimento isn't on the main card. I mean,
Yeah.
he's definitely one of China's only ranked fighters, so I think Sumatajiri should be on the main card. He's always in fun fights. I mean, his fight against Matt Schnell was absolutely ridiculous. Do you
Dude,
have
for real.
any other main card fights? Because that is my main card at the moment. I've only got four main card fights.
Yeah.
I've missed out on the Song Kanan fight.
So I've got obviously Yan versus Song Yudong. I've got Li Jingliang versus Gunnar Nelson. I've got either Sumudaji versus Nascimento as the featured, or you do Salikov versus Song Kanan. Another fight that I really want to see on this main card. This is like an underrated kind of like lightweight scrap. I want to see Kurt Holobel versus Mahashete. I feel like that would
Yeah.
be such a sick fight, dude. Like Holobel's a scrapper, dude. He's coming off the tough finale win, and Mahasheti, he's always an exciting fight. So I think he got knocked out by Vyacheslav Borshev, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
always an
he
exciting
did.
fight. So I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
think he lost
that
to
makes sense to me.
Rafa Garcia before that as well.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. He's a guy that's on his way out of the UFC. Is Holobell's kind of coming in. He's a Chinese name, so they're probably gonna want him in a big spot on this card. So I feel like that's an exciting fight. Win or lose, he's gonna put on a good show.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing about Mahashate. I've also got him on this card, but he's buried a little bit on the prelims against someone, which I shall bring up when we get to it. Do you have any more main
Dude,
card
he's
fights? And we get
23.
yeah, he's young. Yeah, he's 23.
Damn.
It
God
was
damn.
weird, dude. He come out of absolutely nowhere on the Ultimate Fighter. No, not the Ultimate Fighter. Sorry, on Dana White's Contender Series. Massive, massive underdog, like plus like 400, plus 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, weathered a massive storm in round one and just come out of nowhere and beat Achilles Estremadura, who's actually a good fighter. I believe he come off a pretty good
Yeah.
win recently. Since then, yeah, he beat Xavier Nash recently. I actually watched that live when I was watching I think
Dang,
it's
man.
Battlefield Fight League. But yeah, no. But then he won his debut against Steve Garcia, knocked him out. Pretty good win. I mean, now Garcia's on a win streak, isn't he? At least two
Yeah, dude.
fights.
Yep.
And then yeah, lost to a couple of good guys. I mean, Borchev. I know people clown on Borchev a little bit, but Borchev's is an
He's pretty
elite
good.
striker, an elite
Yeah.
striker. So not a bad loss to have, in my opinion. But to
No
talk
way,
about
man.
Mahashate while we're on that topic, I've actually got him taking on someone making his debut, and that would be Tom Nolan, who is from Australia, and that's kind of why I thought we could maybe have a little bit of some sort of a
Mm.
Australian theme on the card with the Jack Della Maddalena on the card, and also put Tom Nolan in there against Mahashate. Tom Nolan's also only 23. Just occurred to me that he's
Yeah.
young as well. That would be crazy. I did actually talk to Tom Nolan very briefly, and he seems interested in fighting on the card in China. So, I mean, it could be something that happens. I know that he probably will want to fight maybe before the end of the year because he last fought in August. So, yeah, I could see Tom Nolan being
That'd be a
relatively
good fight,
keen.
man.
Yeah.
That'd be a
So
good fight, especially on the prelims. That'd be a great fight.
yeah, that was the fight that I had in my prelims. But then my headliner of the prelims was actually going to be a fighter who recently made a big grand return. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as we expected, but it was actually going to be Do Ho Choi taking on Weston Wilson was
Ooh.
going to be my matchup.
Ooh, that's a good fight, dude.
Yeah, well, Weston Wilson took on on very short notice, somebody who I forgot about,
Dude,
but
he got.
he got knocked out in the first round, Joanderson Brito.
Yeah,
But the thing about
yeah,
Dooho
that was
Choi
bad.
was he probably should have won that fight, to be fair. He got it was a pretty rough point deduction, I thought. But at the end of the day though, Dooho Choi, he's still 0-3 with a draw in his last four. So I thought, against Weston Wilson, potentially a good fight for him to come back and make a
Yeah,
comeback. So that's my idea. At the end of the day, I know he had that big break. I believe it was military service combined with an injury. He still hasn't won a fight since 2016. So let's get Dooho
yeah.
Choi in there with someone that I think he probably could win against in a relatively, not necessarily a home fight, but in China, relatively close to South Korea geographically. So I thought that'd be a pretty good one. Who
It's a
do you
good
have
fight.
for your prelim fight?
For my prelims, one fight that I want to do in the featherweight division. Okay. Took a look around the UFC roster. I just wanted to put together some fun fights with guys from China that are currently in the UFC. I feel like the rest of the prelims, like you said, guys that can debut, guys that are coming in, maybe some road to UFC finale fights as well. One fight I want to do in the featherweight division. I want to do Shaolin Nurdiambeke versus Melsik Bagdasarian in the featherweight division. I feel like that is a banger of a fight, dude.
That is a
I've
good
seen both
fight.
these guys. I've seen these guys fight before. I feel like this is a good matchup, dude. Um, this is big banger like prelim co-main event vibes or like featured fight of the prelims. I could see this happening, and I think this is a very exciting matchup.
Yeah, dude, look at that experience for Nerdum Dicky.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man.
It's so
And
insane.
he's big too. He's a big featherweight, man.
Yeah,
He's
I
an
mean, he was
explosive
massive
guy.
against Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia used to fight at 155, and he looked huge
Yep.
against Steve Garcia.
Yep. So I think this is a really fun fight to make, dude.
Yeah, against Mousik. A good stylistic matchup too, because Nodembiki is a bit more of a wrestler grappler, and
Yep.
then with Mousik, he's like a pure striker sort of. So yeah, that would be a fun fight. I do like that one actually a lot. So I gave away my main card. So my my main event of the prelims, my featured prelim, that was the Duho Choi fight, and then the co-main event was going to be Tom Nolan versus Mahashate, and then for my next one was going to be Zhang Mingyang versus Brenton Ribeiro. But that's been officially announced. We talked about that briefly in the intro. Banger fight! I can't wait for it. It's going to be so good. I am going to pick Mingyang Zhang in that one there. I do believe that Ribeiro leaves himself too open. And if you do watch Zhang's most recent fight, man, against George Tokos, his boxing is pretty good. And I think he should be able to get out of the way of Ribeiro and catch him. So this is
Was
early
he
prediction.
supposed to fight? Was he supposed to fight Tyson Pedro?
He was supposed to fight Tyson
Yeah,
Pedro.
dude. All right,
Yeah.
all right.
I was going to pick
Okay.
Pedro in that matchup, but I mean,
Mm.
I don't know. I
Big
mean,
difference in
considering the
level.
Pedro that showed up, maybe Zhang Mingyang could have. I mean, the Tyson
Yeah.
Pedro that showed up at 284 was not the same Tyson Pedro that fought at 293. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, the level of competition is something to look at. But look at this round one finish streak. It is ridiculous. It's insane. So I think he
Hey,
gets another one round one. I think Ribeiro's on a round one finish streak as well. Is he not? Yeah, three fight round one finish streak with a win over
we're
Bruno
fighting good
Lopez.
guys. Yeah,
That fight
that's
is
good.
insane, actually, now that I
That's a
think
good
about it.
fight.
That's a good one. I mean,
That's
people
a
aren't going
very
to
good
know
fight.
that fight, but they're going to know it afterwards, that's for sure.
Yeah,
What's your other
those are the
prelim?
best type of fights. My
Exactly, always.
last prelim that I've got, um, on top of the ones we've already have, I'm really annoyed that UFC made Sumudaji versus Alan Nascimento. I literally had that down for like a week.
That's a crazy
Um,
fight to predict, though,
dude, I
because I
literally
wouldn't
had
have
that.
done that.
I sent Artem the proof. I literally had this already made. So I'm not saying Dana White's listening to what I'm saying, but
That is a
hey,
crazy fight to predict. I would have never done that. I think I had
dude,
Sumadaji on the card, but it was against somebody else, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been Dvorak or something like that. It was something along those
yeah.
lines. Yeah.
But no, man, I'm glad it's happening at least, but I'm sad that it got stolen from me. The last one that I wanted to make that I have in my notes here, lightweight belt, okay? I wanted to get Rong Zhu in there. He's a Chinese fighter in the lightweight division. And I took a look through, the UFC kind of that subsection below the rankings where all the fun fights kind of are. And I want to do Rong Zhu versus Vyacheslav Borshev, dude. I want to get these guys in there together. I think that's an exciting fight, man.
That
I
would
feel
be a
like that is an
banger.
absolute that's a war, bro. That's a banger right there, dude. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
That would be a banger, but I've got some pretty bad news for you.
Oh no,
Rongju's actually in the tournament, the Road to UFC tournament, so he will be on the
dude,
card. Yeah, but he's actually taking
dude,
on someone on the tournament. Yeah,
Dana, you. me
Yeah,
over.
Dana's got you, mate. He's got you. He's
Dude,
taking on the
this is what I get
Japanese
for being a
guy in Shin
casual, bro.
Haraguchi in the finals.
Damn it, bro.
He might
This is
win
what I
it
get for
though.
being a casual, bro.
Nah, it's all good.
This is what I get,
I'm
man.
like real into the road to UFC. Like I did my predictions and I live streamed during it and all that. It's pretty
Damn,
good. Yeah,
bro.
so he's taking on this guy in the finals.
Damn, dude. Well, he's already on the UFC like roster page, so I was like, oh yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
this
no,
guy in there,
well,
man.
he got cut and then he won at UAE Warriors and they gave him the call. I mean, it was interesting though because he's already been in the UFC before.
That's what I mean.
And
Yeah.
the purpose of the Road to UFC tournament really is to test fighters that the UFC, test fighters from Asia, should I say, because everyone on the tournament is from Asia, to just kind of to
Yeah.
test fighters that they're not too sure if they're gonna be like really good in the UFC. Like with the Contender Series, obviously they bring guys in that they think could contend in the UFC, but with these fighters, a lot of them haven't really fought great competition, so that's why they do it like this in this way. But no, it was weird
Unbelievable.
that wrong because you got to win 3 fights to get into the UFC with the tournament. You see, so that means that you're the
Yeah.
best of the best of the fighters from that area of the world. But yeah, but the thing is, Rong Ju already has proven himself to be pretty good. Like he didn't. I know Rodrigo Vargas isn't the best fighter in the world, but he didn't look outclassed against Vargas at all. Probably should have won that fight if he was
No,
just more
man.
aggressive in the first rounds. That was a frustrating fight to watch, to be honest. Then he
No,
beat
even losing
Jenkins,
to
but
Bahamondes, it's not a bad loss. Like,
no, the problem is I
fine.
think he got cut because he was missing weight, as you can see
Yeah.
here. But no, so yeah, no. Good news is he's on the card. You got that part, but unfortunately,
Mate, I'm the best predictor on YouTube. I'm just,
it's all good. No, you're too good. You're too good.
unbelievable.
You predicted that one for sure. Definitely on the card. Unless they do the Road to UFC finals elsewhere, but that would be dumb to do that. I think this is the perfect
Yeah,
opportunity to do it. I did
100%.
have two more just to close it off. Just to kind of make things a little bit interesting, because I did allude in the intro that I do believe the UFC is going to make quite a few debuts on this card. The UFC, it's no secret at all that they want to build into the market in China. They've got the Performance Institute in China. So I think they're going to sign a couple of fighters. It's already been confirmed that Huaxiang Dong has signed to the UFC. She's 25 years old. Like a lot of fighters from China, she hasn't really fought good competition at all. But she's looked
Yeah.
pretty good doing it. She is a wrestler. And I thought that I'd just put her in there against someone that I think that she should be able to beat. Marnik Man, who recently fought. She lost to the Swedish girl, Josephine Knudsen.
Yep.
Took a lot of damage in that fight, though, but it would be a wrestler versus wrestler matchup, and maybe Marnik Man could look at this matchup as something that she could win, as Wat Chang Dong is just super unproven. But a good signing nonetheless. I think a better signing, though, for the women's division would have actually been Kihi Yan, who's 24-4. And when she fought against Karine Silva on the Contender Series in 2021, I didn't think that she looked incredibly outclassed. Now, she did lose the fight, obviously, she got finished, but she didn't look too bad. And then she come back against a pretty good fighter in Miao Ding, who is one of the better fighters out of China in the women's weight classes. So I think the UFC should bring her in. Literally a ridiculously insane record, 24 and
Yeah.
4. And because she's still unproven as well, hasn't fought the best competition, I was just gonna do her versus Brogan Walker, because I feel like
Yeah, that's a good fight.
Brogan Walker's in the spot where it's kind of like she's 0-2 and she can't turn a fight down at this point really. So I think
Yeah.
that this would be a good one, and we'll just know how good Kihiyan is because we don't know how good she is. Look at the competition she's fought. I mean, it's not that great, is it really? But she beat Nala Yang actually. I just realized on her record, but that's
Pretty
in
good.
2018. And then the last one that I was going to bring in was a fighter called Yuali Huang, who was 13-0, but it seems like a few of his matchups have been overturned to amateur belts, so now he's 9-0, so kind of moved on from that. But Toyolaki Noraji is a guy that people are bringing up. He had the most insane win on Road to UFC against Hyun Seo Kim, absolute banger. But it seems like he just wants to get a bit more experience before coming over to the UFC. So maybe you see him. I don't have a matchup for him, but I just thought I'll bring him up as someone the UFC could bring on. So yeah, I think we've got a couple pretty good cards there, bedtime. And
Yep.
I mean, I'm looking forward to this one. As I said kind of earlier, I think the card being in China just makes it a little bit more exciting because it's not really something that we see very often at all. We don't really get events in Asia too often, aside from the events in Singapore.
Oh, exactly, dude. It's dope. And you know it's gonna be a good event when Dana White doesn't even know that it's happening yet. That means that behind the scenes they're cooking up for something good. So
Yeah, they're
I'm
making
very
something.
excited about this.
Yeah, because like he was asked about the Zhang Wei Li fight, and he was like, "No, we wouldn't do that in China." But then he looked confused that they even were doing an event in China. But it seems like all signs are leading to this fight happening, to this event happening. Not the fight necessarily, but the event being in China. I think it makes sense. Close out the year with a pretty good one in a pretty different location to what they normally do. I don't think that they've been to China since like I think like the rumor. So not the rumor. The thing is like 2017 or 2019, one of those 2 years. Like it's a
The
long
last time they were
time.
there was Wei Li versus Andrade, right? That was the last one.
Yeah, maybe that was 2018 then.
Yeah, man.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a long time ago anyway.
Way
Long,
too
long
long.
time ago. Yeah, no, so it should be pretty fun. Hopefully they do an event over in New Zealand. That would be a good one because I would go to it.
Yo.
But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Kai Kai France versus Cup could headline that. Or Dan Hooker
Oh man.
versus Felder too, maybe. Would be cool. I
That'd
don't
be
know.
good, yeah. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, there's definitely options. But no, I think we'll end it here. Bedtime. It's a 20-minute video. So if you made it through 20 minutes, just let us know what you think in the comments below. It's good to have you bedtime. Feel like this is like a long
Appreciate you,
time
bro.
in the making collaboration. You know,
Yes,
because
we finally did it.
yeah, dude. I think I messaged you when you had like 800 subscribers or something, and now you've surpassed me.
Mate. You're coming up with me, bro.
Okay.
Let's go.
You got that
Let's go.
you've got those ideas though, man. Like your ideas are so good and they work so much better than the ideas
Thank
that
you,
I
bro.
come up with. But that's all good.
Nah, bro. The last thing I want to say, bro, dude, you're like the way that you cover the sport and like how much knowledge you actually have, like you actually do research
Yeah.
and your picks are always really good, bro. So commendable, dude. Like genuinely, like I wish more people listen to the stuff that you say because you actually know what you're talking about, dude. Straight up.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, no, I'm real into it. I'm into I'm trying to get into boxing as well. Now that I'm actually doing boxing, so I don't know,
Bro.
maybe in about a year or so, I might have an art and boxing channel as well. We'll
Yo,
see.
that'd be sick, dude.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, no, we're gonna leave it there.
Sweet.
All right, thanks for coming on bedtime. Definitely a long
Thanks
time
for
in the
having me, man.
making, though. Very glad to see your success on your channel. If you haven't subscribed to Bedtime MMA, do subscribe to him. I mean, I think he's got
Thank you,
about
bro.
10,000 subscribers right now. We could probably get him to 100K at the end of the year. You get
Mate,
my
100%. Yeah.
subscribers, my 5,000, add them to your 10,000. That's 100K by the end of the year for
That's
sure.
100K, bro.
That's
That's
how
what
it
it is,
works.
man.
That's how it works. I mean, I'm an engineering student, so it definitely makes sense. All right, I'll
Thank
see
you,
you
bro. I
guys in the
appreciate
next
it, man.
one. All right, catches.